Are we there? Oh, good gracious. Oh, finally. Good heavens. Sorry, I don't know what the hiccup was, what have you. Okay. Well, I apologize for being so late. And I apologize for Instagram's been hanging out and waiting, so I am very, very sorry. I don't know what the boggle was, but the Facebook Live just wasn't going live. It was just spinning. Live video starting. It was just spinning, so I'm sorry for that. And all of that. So, hello, and I am very happy to be back with you. I know we missed last week. Hello. I'm sorry we missed last week. So my son was traveling home from Texas last week, and there was a big, huge thunderstorm that was squatting over Orlando, and his flight was delayed, and then they ended up having to circle because of the storm, and then they had to go to land in Texas because of the storm, because then they ran out of gas from the circling, and then they had to come back and get gas and then come back and land. So by the time he landed in Orlando, it was like 4 in the morning, and just like we were all just completely so tired, because as long as I knew that he was safe in Miami, I was better, but it was waiting to figure out what they were going to do that was just giving me a lot of spookus. So I was just couldn't sleep, and then of course on Monday I'm like so we could not do a live last week because I could barely keep my eyeballs open. So I want to make sure we were together this week, because next week I can't be here, and next week I'm traveling. So I am sorry to miss you for that. Now, I have to say, I'm very excited because I don't know if our Chris Judd will join us today, but you all saw my my cards. Now, this is my Work Your Light Oracle card deck that I have had for years, and I love this deck, and I use it all the time. And I mentioned how the cards were just so completely like, thanks, Steven, I'm glad to be back too. So keep in mind, I'm not here next week because I'm traveling. So I had mentioned how my cards were all just broken, and you can even just see these breaks in the thing. And so our Chris Judd, who is so incredibly sweet, and I know she is so helpful on our podcast, and I know a lot of you have had the opportunity to like either chit chat or connect or something with her. So she took it upon herself to buy me a new deck. So I have this brand, look how straight and strong they are, this brand spanking new. So I'm very, very excited. I'm very grateful. I mean, what an incredibly sweet gesture. So we have to use them today. So we have the most, they're just all like still smell all like yummy and fresh and new. And look, there's not even a bend in them. They're so straight up and down. Okay, so I had the opportunity last weekend on Sunday to not just to do readings and to help participate in Soul Journey Sunday, but prior to that, I was asked to do the homily and sermon and to deliver messages for Journey Within Spiritualist Church for their Sunday evening service. Now, I will be teaching, so I do want to make sure to talk about that. So we have the Becoming an Empowered Empath class. It's an online class, and usually if you take it with me online, it's like $200. It's a self-paced 8-module. my camera's on my front door, know my mailman Archie, so it literally says, I don't know if you can hear it, but it literally said, mailman is at front door. I love that. Anyway, so the Spiritualist Church asked me to teach this class, so I'm teaching it live, so it's not pre-recorded. I'm teaching it live. It starts on Tuesday, August 5th. It's going to go for 4 weeks instead of 8, so quick, get it done. You get me live and in person. It's going to be very interactive, and it is like half the price. So instead of $200, it's going to be $85, and I am so excited because I always wanted to be able to teach this class live. It is much better with a group. So definitely come along if you are an empath and you've been wondering what the heck is going on. This is the opportunity for you to meet other empaths and to really understand how it is that your brain and your energy and your body is receiving energy, how you're processing energy, how you are allowing things to come in, how to decide what you want to allow to come in, how to not allow in what you don't want to allow to come in, and to be able to really participate in some group exercises, group discussions. I mean, I really am so excited about this. So there's a link in the comments. It's right there at the top. I think it's pinned. And it is going to be 4 Tuesdays from, I think it's from 7 to 9. You can find it, just click the link, you'll be able to see it, but this is going to be a fantastic class. Now please spread the word, because if you are an empath or you have a friend who's an empath, if you are feeling just constantly overwhelmed by energy or news or sadness or overjoyed or just not really in control of your emotions and not really understanding what the hell is going on, this is a class for you. It is really about getting to know yourself, getting to know how your energy shows up in the world, how you process things. And when you can understand that you have so much more control than you think or you thought, it makes a tremendous difference in how we are able to show up in the world. So having said that, let me kind of go back to where I was with the Sunday night service, the Spiritualist Church, the same church. They often use this song that I really like, and I forget who sings it, and that's okay. But the chorus goes, "Stand in the light and be true to who you are," and something like that. And I really like the song. It's very powerful and very moving, and that is what's going on right now. So we just had the new moon, or we're about to have the new moon in Leo. So where are we? New moon is this Thursday, so just in a couple of days we're going to have the new moon in Leo. And this new moon is really about standing in your truth, standing in the light and being who you are, right? Stand in the light and be who you are. Allow yourself to be seen. Allow those people who are close to you, allow the people who, this is not to say we're allowing people to make rules or judgments or demands on our lives. This says, I'm going to show up in my most authentic way and be able to stand in the light and be true to who I am, because we know that when we stand in the light, we have that support of the angels, the guides, loved ones, and spirit. All of those things are with us and allowing us and encouraging us to be who we are. Now, one of the things that's happening right now with everything that's happening right now, and did y'all hear about Malcolm Jamal Warner, that he passed away? He drowned in Costa Rica. My heart is so sad for this because, I mean, he's younger than me. I mean, we all know Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show, right? Theo. And, just sad. But people are leaving the planet. People are leaving the country. People are leaving the planet. And we've seen this for several years, right? This is not new. I mean, Malcolm Jamal Warner, incredibly sad. But we have seen this for several years where people are leaving the planet, and people are leaving the planet in droves. The COVID pandemic was part of that. This thing that is going to happen with USAID and the aid around the world, and people are going to perish. The floods in Texas, people have died. We are seeing it with, there was a boat capsized in Thailand. There is constant flow of people leaving the planet. Now we can look at this and we can say, oh my God, it's heartbreaking, it's so sad, and it is. And we're not going to be, let's not even get started about war. I mean, we've got Ukraine and Russia and the Middle East and Africa, and it seems like there's just war everywhere, okay? But, because I don't like the word but so much, and we have been seeing people leaving the planet for quite a while, right? As there are folks that are understanding they have pushed the rock like Sisyphus up the hill as far as they can push it, and now they need to pass it off to somebody else to hold it and push it up the hill so they can go do something else and move on to their next life, their next task, their next evolution. It is very much a baton passing that is happening right now in society. And so while it is horribly sad, and I am not trying to ever belittle anything that is going on in our world that is, torturing people and causing uncertainty and pain, because none of us wants that, hopefully. But there's a part of this that is connected where people are choosing to leave the planet right now. And I say right now, but really this has been, in the last decade. I mean, we were even talking about this with the mass shootings that we've been seeing, right? And here in Orlando, we had the Pulse tragedy, and we had in South Florida, we had the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And Florida has a very unique, dubious honor of being home to two of the worst mass shootings in our country's history. And yay, Florida. But all of this is part of it. And we say, oh, well, how do children decide that they're going to leave the planet? And it isn't that a child decided, but because a child is of a certain age, let's say 11, 12, even younger, maybe 14, 15, high schoolers, but the soul is a very different entity from the human child, right? Or the human. So in, let's say, Malcolm Jamal Warner's case, and, please, we only send light and love to his family as they're dealing with such a horrible situation. And sudden loss is even more jarring than when we're dealing with an illness or, when people pass, where we can almost be grateful that that person is out of pain. We send so much light to those places, but at the same time, our souls incarnate here for a purpose. And our souls have exit ramps as we go along. I totally hear you, Scott. There are days I feel like, what the hell? Why, beam me up, right? But I'm reminded that my soul is not done. My soul is not done. So if you have ever driven down a highway, which I'm sure that you all have, there are exits for different towns. You could get gas, you could get food. There's always a Taco Bell. There's exits. The soul comes here, and that is the life path, is that superhighway, and there are exit ramps. And when the soul says, I have done all that I have come here to do, or I can go no further for one reason or another, it is time for me to leave. And sometimes we have these folks who are, the body is failing, but the soul is still here. And we say, well, what is going on with that? And we say, well, the soul is not ready for some reason. Maybe they're waiting for a person. They're waiting for a conversation with a loved one. They're waiting for that person to show up. They're waiting for the loved ones in spirit to come, because when we are ready to pass, whether it is a long and slow process or it's a very quick, sudden thing, remember, on the other side, they have no time. There is no now, later, oh, they're coming, they're not here yet. That's a human construct, that time. And so on the other side, those loved ones, those angels, the parents, the grandparents, the ancestors, the pets, the friends, the perhaps, military connections, whatever all that is, those loved ones start to come in. Even when a passing is like this, those loved ones on the other side are already gathering to come in to be there for that transitional time, because they know. And so even when we have these very sudden, very traumatic passings, the soul, that's not the situation for the soul. That's the situation for us when we are looking and saying, from a human perspective, what? And from the soul perspective, they see this whole other thing. And you've probably heard me say this before, and I'm looking for a piece of paper. So these are my new cards, right? You've probably heard me explain this before, where we have this tapestry, right? And so if we look at the front of a tapestry, you have this beautiful picture, right? But on the back of the tapestry, you might see the threads and the knots and all the things going in different directions, and it's kind of messy and disjointed, right? But when we are looking from the spirit side, they're seeing the beautiful tapestry and they're looking at it this way. And when we look up, we're seeing the backside, and it's messy and it's like disjointed and we don't understand what's going on. But from the front, the angels and guides and our loved ones, they know where to stick the needle and what color and the thread to do the needlepoint to, or the weaving to make this beautiful picture, to make this beautiful tapestry. And I'll tell you this story of a loved one. So I have been very blessed to know a particular family 4 generations now, and have been friends, have received gifts, have given gifts. They have been clients, both with Mary Kay and also with mediumship. And when grandma passed, it was a little bit more sudden. We expected Grandpa to pass first because he's the one with the health issues, and Grandma passed first. It was very unexpected. And Grandpa stayed around for a longer period of time. And Mom came to me and said, I want to know what's going on. And we've done many, many readings. And then her daughter, who I started working with this family when she was 11, and the daughter now has 3 or 4 children of her own. So, I mean, it's just been decades with this family, and it's such a beautiful, like, my relationship with this family just makes my heart so happy. So Mom came and said, let's do a reading, and we did with daughter, and Grandma came through, but there was not a lot going on around Grandpa. And then a few months later, she says, I think some things are going on. I think maybe let's do another reading. So a few months later, we did another reading for Grandpa, for the mom and the daughter. And so we had the 3 generations and Grandpa. And around Grandpa was now not just Mom, but a whole bunch of other people that I didn't recognize who they were, but I could describe them. And Mom showed me this picture of Grandpa with all his military buddies. And these were the buddies, and he was among the last to pass. And the military buddies were the ones who were coming along with his parents and grandparents and things. But it was the military buddies that I could describe, and I would communicate with. This gentleman says this, and this gentleman says that. And all of these people were coming to be around Grandpa and to be part of that transition to welcome him home. And so when Grandpa passed, about a week or so later, no one was surprised because we saw the gathering from the other side. Even when we cannot see the gathering from the other side, they know, and they're gathering, okay? So when it feels like, in the case of this, sad situation today of Malcolm Jamal Warner, and, and look, people drown every day, and it's sad for every single person. We may not hear about it because they weren't a celebrity, but for anyone that has had this sudden passing from the other side, that is not the perspective. So from the other side, they know that time, that exit ramp is coming, and they are gathering in to come and be part of that transition. Nobody transitions alone. Nobody. I don't care if you left your body like that. If you hit a tree, God forbid, and you booped out of your body so fast you didn't even know it hit you, literally, nobody transitions alone. The other side is with us, and they know. And so having said that, we know that the soul, regardless of the age, regardless of the capacity of the human being, regardless of the illness or the wellness, the soul says, that's my exit ramp right there. That's where I'm going. And they say, okay, great, we're going to meet you there. We're going to all be at the rest stop. We're going to be when you get off the highway. We're all going to be right there. Okay? And so it does not make things easier. Okay? It does not. Now, I am a woman in my 50s. I am so flippin' lucky. I have both my parents. I mean, my kids know their grandparents. They knew my husband's parents a little bit. They were a bit older. They passed when my kids were younger, but old enough to have known them. But my kids are adults now. They're in their 20s, and they have their grandparents. And I am so lucky. I had all 4 of my grandparents danced at our wedding 30 years ago, and 3 out of my 4 grandparents met both of my children. Okay? All of my grandparents met the older one, and 3 of the 4 met the younger one. So, I mean, that is unbelievable to me. And I talk to my friends, and I know what an incredible gift that is. And so I'm grateful they have not found their exit ramp yet. But it's these kind of things that remind us that we are here for something more. And we have these tasks, these We have a mission when we come here. When we choose to incarnate, we chose to incarnate with the people around us, whether they're easy or whether they're not so easy, maybe a little challenging, or in a challenging time or in a not challenging time. We have incarnated in this time for a purpose. We all come here with a shopping list and a soul family, a little group that's, who's going to play mom this time, who's going to play dad, who's going to be my kids, who agreed that they were going to love me so much that they were going to be the people that drove me the craziest because they love me so much. They were willing to take on that hardest role, right? Oh, Sharon, that is amazing. That is so amazing. My grandparents met, let me see. Yeah, all my grandparents met my kids. Because my kids were the first great-grandchildren on both sides of the family, my side and my husband's side of the family. Anyway, so that's awesome. Love it. When we come here, I'm sure she's happy on the other side. My dad is the only surviving parent. You got to hold on to that, right? And that's not always the easiest. When you see a movie or a TV show, and you look at the Oscars or the Emmys or whatever, the people who are usually nominated are the ones who have made this dramatic, so gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, movie thing that has happened, right? And we don't always get to see the people in the comedic roles be recognized for acting awards or things like that, because it's hard. It's harder to convince us of the drama, the trauma, the severity of the emotion, the depth of the pain. That is hard to do as an actor. It is hard to do as a human. And the souls that come here to incarnate, to be those ones who are going to cause the pain and who are going to convey the pain, they have agreed to take on the hardest roles in order to convey and bring us, the recipient or the proximate whoever, the relation, to some emotional place. Because they agreed that they loved us so much that they were willing to come here and be the human that causes pain, change, challenge, growth for us. That's love. And we agreed that we were going to come and be the person who stood in the gap, who loved unconditionally, whether that was addiction or abuse or absence or whatever it was. We agreed that we wanted to learn those things. And so for whatever our reasons and whatever our mission, because we all come here with a shopping list of things that we want to achieve, accomplish, experience something in this lifetime, whatever that shopping list is, we all have one. And so we came here to be here, human, incarnated now, in this time of massive transition, in this time of massive turmoil, because stuff's got to get churned up in order for new stuff to be able to come. And y'all have seen the phoenix rising from the ashes, and we've got cards, every deck has some kind of a card like that where they burn it all to the ground and everything, and then something new came out of it, right? And hopefully we don't have to burn it all to the ground, but I think about what came out of, like, let's say 9/11. And so maybe you've heard of Meetup, right? There's the Meetup where you can find groups and activities of people who like what you like and are going to go do something and you want to go do it. You could find a Meetup, right? That came out in 9/11 because people were trying to find people. Okay, Zoom is technology that came in pre-COVID, but it was really corporate, and then in COVID, it just exploded to technology that everyone uses. So there are, and those are just two examples I can think of off the top of my head. I know there's many more, but there are things that come from the ashes. And so while hopefully we don't have to burn everything to the ground, and I don't believe that that's what's going to happen, I know that there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I know that there's a lot of rising, anger and frustration and racism and a lot of stuff. But I think, it really is this pendulum that swings. And humanity is going to snap back, and it's going to snap back in a very big way to the other direction. I don't know when. I wish I did. But I know that there is going to be a swing back. So the problem, the hiccup, the confusing part is that every time the pendulum swings, instead of losing some momentum and coming back to the place of middle, is it swings so far to the other side. And we're seeing that because at least we have saw like over the last, not this decade, but the last, we really swung very far to the left, and now we're swinging very, very far to the right. And so I don't know how, if we're going to swing all the way around and make a circle, I don't know. But I know that the pendulum is going to swing back. I know that it is. So Scott says he's part of that. For sure, for sure. All right, so let's see. So I don't know who all needed to hear whatever I just said, but I appreciate you listening, and I trust that when they start bringing words out of my mouth, it's because somebody needs to hear it. So that's my story. I'll stick to it. So we're going to grab our Archangels, Kyle Gray's Archangels deck. I always like to start, or I don't say always, but these days I'm happy to start with this. So this is Jeremiel. I like to see which archangels are going to be guiding us in a week, you know, who's looking out for us this week, because it also tells us what we need to like think about and work on and stuff. Because right now we are in Mercury retrograde. I didn't have a chance to tell you about that last week. We are in Mercury retrograde, so it started last week, and so we have been feeling the effects of technology. As I don't know about you all, but my computer, my phone batteries, I mean, just technology, okay. So there's a lot of that going on right now with Mercury retrograde, but and so you might be feeling some of that, because remember, Mercury retrograde is not a thing to be endured. Mercury retrograde is a thing to like be observed. Okay, so what is it about the computer or the technology or the person that calls out of nowhere or the car that keeps cutting you off in traffic, or what is it that Mercury retrograde is trying to get you to say, hey, we're trying to get your attention, can you pay attention, we're really trying to get your attention, can you please notice this pattern, because we're really, really trying to get your attention here. So Mercury retrograde is not a thing to be afraid of, it's not a thing to be endured, it's a thing to be observed. Okay, and so I understand where the computers and stuff, what it was trying to show me. Doesn't mean I like it, but I understand it. Okay, so here we have Jeremiel. It says personal responsibility. Okay, now the retrograde is going to go really into like the middle of August, so you're going to hang on to that. So really we're going to be dealing with this kind of stuff until the end of August. Let me see. Effectively it's going to end August 11th, but we know there's that 2 weeks after window. There's that 2 weeks before window also. So anyway, Jeremiel says personal responsibility. It says take responsibility for your choices. This is an opportunity for inner growth. Okay, and this is really so much about what Mercury retrograde is about. Okay, and so what this is reminding us is that while we are in Mercury retrograde and we are really being asked to take personal responsibility and be aware of what's going on around us, we're not alone. Okay, Jeremiel, the other archangels, everyone is watching, they're participating, they're being part of the conversation. Okay, so we are not alone, even though we are being asked to say, okay, what part is, you know, can you be where is it that your fault? Because, you know, when stuff happens, like, it's just human nature. We're like, that wasn't my fault. Somebody did that. And it's like, okay, but we have culpability in things. In most things, we had a hand in it somewhere, okay? Belinda said she had a car accident. Oh, I'm so sorry you had to write off your car, but I hope you're okay. I hope you're not injured. That is most important. The car can be replaced. So, and I'm so sorry that that happened. But there's been lots of you know, crazy, silly, weird, and like incongruous things that are happening right now. And that's, a lot of that is Mercury retrograde, because they're trying to get us to pay attention to something. So what else do we need to know about what's going on this week? And so we have my beautiful new Work Your Light Oracle cards. And so this is the Age of Light. It says, listen, you've been training for this for lifetimes. Okay, we have been here, we have been here before, we have seen this, we have been watching from the other side, watching humanity's evolution, we have been watching humanity moving forward, knowing that we wanted to come down here and be part of the change. We chose to incarnate now so we could be part of the change. We are here so we could be part of it, okay? So we chose to be here. Personal responsibility, responsibility from the soul level, responsibility from the human level. We chose to be incarnated, and this time is going to be a historic thing. They're going to look back on this period of time and teach about it in schools, hopefully, of where the world was in turmoil because something was changing, and what did that look like. And we chose to be here, part of it. We didn't want to miss it. We wanted to be here. So Belinda says, too much rushing around with the car accident, and I'm so glad you're okay. And Scott said, I had my head tapped twice a few days ago. Not sure who it was. No one was in the room. So it's okay that no one was in the room. But Scott, when you have that thing where somebody's like, hello, trying to get your attention, it may not be that it was someone that was trying to get your attention. It could also be some thought. Okay, so when those things happen, or like somebody cuts you off in traffic, or a wasp, or a butterfly, or a bird, or whatever it is that gets your attention, you're like, whoa. The question is not always who is trying to get my attention, but what was I thinking about right then? Because very often there's a segue there that says, what was I just thinking about? Oh, I was thinking about calling this person, so let me make sure I don't let that thought go by. Let me make sure I make a mental note to say, I got to call that person. So it's not always that another human is trying, or a post-human, former human is trying to get our attention when they're tapping or getting us to try and look or whatever. It can also be about what was the conversation you were having, what thought did you just have, what thing did you just drive by that reminds you of something. So look around to see what else was going on in that moment, okay? Sharon asked, when did Mercury retrograde start? So it's only been going like a week or so. So it just started on Friday, so not even a week. But we have that 2-week window that was before. So that's why we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, because I wasn't here to tell you that it was coming up on Friday. So it technically started on Friday. Now, does everybody understand Mercury retrograde? So we have the planets that are in an elliptical orbit, okay? And so when they come into different positions, this is where all the planets come into retrograde, but Mercury happens most often, happens 4 or so times a year. So if you think about it, when you're on the highway, if you're driving and you're driving in cars next to you and you start to slow down, the car is, you're both still going forward, and that car might be going a little faster, so they're passing you. So you're still going forward, but to them it looks like you're going backwards. That's retrograde. So when the orbit is such a shape that it looks like the other planet is passing, and the original Mercury looks like it's going backwards, it's not going backwards. It's just the other one is passing it. And so that's what that's what happens in retrograde. So, yeah, it kind of did sneak up on us, this one, didn't it? It really did feel like it was kind of sneaking up on us this time. So the next card is like, okay, so we know that we've got personal responsibility. We know that we are here, this age of light. Have been training for this for lifetimes. We chose to be here, so now I understand why I was telling you all this stuff about the shopping list and the exit ramps. We chose to be here for this transformational time. We didn't want to miss it. We wanted to be here for this. And so the next card says, well, what else do we need to know about all this that's going on right now? It says, this is Anna, the grandmother of Jesus. It says, and this is so interesting, it says, seeding the light, laying the foundations of the divine plan. And that's literally what it says down the bottom. So when I say we didn't want to miss it, and that it's an important transformation that's going on right now, boy, we really didn't want to miss it, right? We came here to be here at this time in history so that we could be part of this transformation of the human experience. Okay, we chose to be here right now. Okay, and then what's the pitfalls? What do you got to look out for? And this is, we've got to stay grounded. This is getting grounded. Now, these cards don't do the upside down thing, but this is getting grounded. Empaths, especially highly sensitive people, connect with nature. This is, we've got to stay grounded. We've got to stay connected to each other. We've got to stay connected to the earth, to the higher, to the light. We've got to stay grounded. And so this really is calling out the empaths and the highly sensitives, because those are the ones who are most shook up by what's going on around us right now. And that's okay, because they're also the ones who are coming to be part of it. They're the ones who say, I don't want to miss this. I want to be part of this light. I want to be part of this transformation. So if you are, and again, if you are an empath or someone who's a highly sensitive person, like an HSP, do know that we will be starting this live class that's going to be 4 weeks. It's going to be starting on August 5th, Tuesday. It's going to be 4 Tuesdays, where we're going to be doing the Becoming an Empowered Empath live class. And so if you look at the very top, I pinned it in the comments, you've got the link there. So that is really coming up for us. This is going to be not this Tuesday, but 2 Tuesdays. So not next week, the week after. All right, so we're going to grab our Malachim cards, right, our Israeli, Arabic, English angel cards. And so this says sincerity, Okay, sincerity. So we started with stand in the light and be who you are, right? Be your truest self. So Sharon says, every warning light on the car lit up, dinging with each one. There's nothing wrong with the car. They're really trying to get your attention. Boy, you must not have been listening. So this is sincerity. It says stand in the light and be who you are. Stay grounded. Be who you are. And then the next one is rest. Okay, this is rest. Making sure that we are taking the time for ourselves to rest, refurbish, regenerate, reconnect, make sure that we're taking self-care is a prime thing. With all of this turmoil that's going on, taking time for self-care really, really important. Okay, so all right, let's go to, I'm going to grab a drink, and you know what to do. If you are ready for your own card reading, put it in the comments, and we will get some cards read for everybody, okay? Not a big crowd today, so we'll go quick. Sincerity is Canute. Okay, let me see. Yes, I can read that. Okay, and Menucha. Rest is Menucha. So I know that one from camp. Menucha. That would be like after lunch. We would have a little rest time where you can just chill out. So that was called Menucha, which is rest. So we have sincerity, Canute, and then we have rest, which is Menucha. Thank you, Sharon. All right, so absolutely, we've got all the cards. All right, so we are going to start as we do in order. So we have Kimmy, and then Sharon, and Stephen. Yes, you do need to come see me for a face-to-face. So either hurry up and get on my calendar for this week, or know that I'm out of town all next week. So up to you. So, all right, we've got Kimmy. So Kimmy, this is boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? So this is really about just setting up a space. Now, boundaries doesn't mean we have to kick people to the curb. Boundaries just says I need to stand in my light and be who I am. Okay, Kimmy, this says I can make a boundary with myself, and we can make a boundary that says there are gates for others. There are people that we are going to give the passcode to, okay, so that we're not saying, when we establish a boundary, it is not a F you, okay? When we put a boundary, it says, here's what I need, this is what's important to me, and this is what I need for myself, and I'm going to put this, and now I'm going to have the choices to say who and how do I want to allow to come through the boundary. But boundaries is also about taking back control, Kimmy, and about setting up a place where you have a safe space for yourself and allowing and just again taking control back about what energy you're allowing into yourself, and also what energy you're giving out. So when we establish boundaries, we often will say things like, I am, for places where I have consciously or unconsciously, willingly or unwillingly, knowingly, unknowingly given my power away, I call my power back. I create this boundary, okay, and it's really so much about taking your power back and establishing a place that is safe for you, okay? So Sharon, we have transformation. Things are changing on a cellular level. Deep healing. So Sharon, there's deep healing. I love that. Deep healing for Sharon. And so this is, and understand how she's sitting. She's sitting in the throne. She's got the beautiful full moon behind her. It is a beautiful, peaceful scene. She is being herself. She is allowing this transformation to happen. She is trusting the universe, because you can see, I read it as the moon, but you can see there's all these rays of sun and lights and things that are coming off of it. So it is allowing that transformation to happen, knowing that this is deep healing and that this is bringing us to a new place. Okay, so Sharon, we definitely want to welcome that in as well. And it's also, it's not just physical, it's about how we think about things. This transformation is about how we perceive things. It's a big part of that as well. Okay, all right, Stephen, need a card, can't come this week, I understand. So we will, you are so welcome, Kimmy. Okay, so Stephen, it would have to be after, well, you would have to be in August. So just hit me up, we'll figure it out. Okay, so card for Stephen, this is Imrama. Interesting, because this is, where are you being called to journey to? Okay, where are you being called to journey to? And it feels like a piece of something that we have talked about before, about coming to the next level as you are. If you think about like Maslow's hierarchy for basic needs, right? You have the triangle of Maslow, and the bottom ones are the levels are the physical, right? It's just like in our chakras, right? We have food and shelter and, you know, lodging and safe, you know, housing, and then we can go up into, you know, relationships and enlightenment and all this kind of stuff. And so, Stephen, I know you've been working really hard to get a lot of things worked out, and so this is really talking about where is your next evolution. And we've seen that as well in Jeremiel with personal responsibility of how we are evolving to the next levels. And this just feels like they're wanting you to think about what's next. Where are we going next? What is your next evolution? Because I think by now you've moved into the house, and mazel tov to you, hooray. But now what is next? And not just in accomplishment, but it's the next evolution of Stephen. Where are you going next? What insight, what chakra are you working? What are you allowing to evolve around you? So that is very interesting. And actually it really brings in another question into my mind, but I would rather discuss that one with you privately, but it does, and I know we will, but it does bring another question in my mind, and I have to wonder if there's another development that is in the wings for you. So very interesting. So allowing yourself to feel this expansion and to welcome it. Okay. All right. So Belinda, absolutely. Belinda, this is soul family. Call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. So Belinda, this is reminding you that you've got good, strong, mentally balanced people around you. There's also some sifting here because there's maybe some folks that maybe aren't necessarily the first call we want to make. Like we've all got those friends where I love you, but you are not my first call in an emergency, right? And so this is just saying, listen, you don't have to kick anybody to the curb, but have some sifting. This is, look, you have really good resources and people around you, and so it's going to be a great plan for you to make sure you know who those people are, make sure you are renewing those connections to say, hey, look, you're my 3 a.m. bail out of jail person, I'm your 3 a.m. bail out of jail person. Hopefully we never need those things, but it's important that we have, that we know who those people are, and that we're refreshing those relationships to say, hey, listen, I love you for who you are, for what you are. It's all, like, we're all in there, okay? So sometimes, and it's interesting because I did this to my girlfriend this morning. I said, hey, I'm just texting to tell you I love you. It was nothing. I haven't talked to her in a while. I just was texting to tell her I love her. And Belinda, it's just as simple as that, but it's just keeping those cords connected so that, God forbid we have to activate the phone tree, we know exactly who's going to come in and be part of that, right? So it's just, and there's something affirming about that too that is refreshing, because when you just send out those little things of I love you, just letting you know, what we get back is so much more than that. And it's like that affirmation that says, oh yeah, my group is here. I know my group is here. And how refreshing is that? So they're just reminding you to just tap into that love bomb that's waiting for you. Just plug into that and just welcome what is being returned for you, because they're really trying to lift you up a little bit. All right, so that is the question. That is the question at hand. Was the question yes, that is the question that I'm thinking about as well. So well, we're going to have to talk about that. So very interesting. All right, so we have Claudette. So Claudette, this is the yes card. So this is just say yes. So Claudette, go forward. Allow these things that are presenting themselves to you as new opportunities, these people who are coming into your space. Discretion, yes, but this is saying that thing that you have been asking for is trying to make its way to you, and so allow. It's not going to look, of course, how we want it to look. And so we say, oh, well, so we've been trying to go forward with the stuff in my yard, and I still have no grass. So we finally got the sprinklers fixed, and we got the brickwork done, and then the brick guys broke the sprinklers. And that's like, oh, well, we do this next, whatever it is. Just trust it as you are figuring out, do we do this next, do we do this next, do we do this next? We're still going forward, okay? So allow yourself to say yes, even if the order is changing, even if it doesn't look like what you thought it's going to look like. Just allow yourself to go forward, because Claudette, they're really trying to say to you, there's not like, okay, so we're talking about, so I have the tree, we have the brick work that went around the tree, and they broke the sprinklers, they're fixing the sprinklers, we still need grass, we're going to put the plants in the brickwork that they did around the tree, nice new planter. Oh no, now I got to trim the trees. Do I want to trim the trees before they put the things in the planter? There's not a wrong move. It's all going forward, even though it feels a little mushy, chaotic, squishy, allowing that it's all going forward. And in the end, it will all be complete. Okay? So Claudette, they're asking you to stop worrying so much about, should I do this first? Should I do this first? Should I do this first? Just allow it to unfold. Okay? There's not a wrong move that's in there. Okay? All right. So we have, is that everybody? Okay. Absolutely. All right. So let's grab one more card for the everyone to wrap it all up and see what we need to finish it all up. This is Priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? This is a really perfect way for us to finish, because oh, you're so welcome, Claudette. You're so welcome. The cards know. They really do now. So the Priestess, about how are you being called to step up to lead? Remember, you don't have to be the leader of 100 people. You could be the leader of yourself and 2 more, yourself and 5 more. There's no pressure. However, we chose to incarnate here, to be part of this transformation. We didn't want to miss it. We wanted to be part of this, what's going on. So how can you be a leader in your little corner of the universe as part of this transformation that's going on? And so you ask yourself, how can I contribute? How can I contribute? How can I be part of this? I came here to be part of it. So how can I be part of it? Okay. All right. Please know that you are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved by me, by our community of light, by the loved ones who feed us. You are so loved. And it is so important that you hold on to that love, because it keeps our vibrations high. It keeps us able to bounce off, let the crazy stuff bounce off of us and not get all involved. If you are feeling like an empath, please do look into taking the class with me. I would be so thrilled to have you with us. Remember, I will not be here next Monday, so I hope you all have a fantastic end of July, and I will see you in August on the 4th. Have a great week. Mwah. You are loved.